think it's no secret that Super Mario 64 is one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, I've made dozens of videos on it, I've done countless streams speedrunning the game. It's pretty clear that I kind of like it. As my 5,000 subscriber goal incentive, I've been saying that I'll play the RetroAchievements bonus subset for the game. Well, we've already smashed past that goal, so I think it's about time I actually get down and do this monster of a challenge. For this mastery, I'll have to collect the game's 120 stars and beat Bowser in the sky in one sitting, complete a 70-star playthrough deathless, collect 30 stars damageless, do some fun extra challenges like collect the stars somewhere over the rainbow in Rainbow Ride without using a carpet, or Red Hot Log rolling damageless with no A presses. But worst of all, I have to do the Green Demon challenge in 8 different stages. This set only has 70 people who have ever mastered it, so you're in for a never before seen ride. Let's strap in and get started. But before I actually do start, I want to call out this guy, RetroAchievements user Buenosaurus Rex. Yes, I know you're watching. I'm talking to you. He got the 69th master right before me. Took it right from under my grasp. Anyway, let's really start now. I think that the best way to go about this RetroAchievement set is to start off with the achievement Unstoppable, which I mentioned a couple of seconds ago. All I have to do is beat the game 100% without quitting. By doing this first, I should collect a ton of extra achievements along the journey, which will help me out in the long run. And even though I have a ton of experience in this game, I'm a bit rusty as I haven't touched it in close to a year at this point. So I somehow managed to fail Lock-to Skip, which would have unlocked an achievement for us, but I wouldn't be so lucky. Although on the brighter side, I did Bomb Clip to get the star behind Chain Chomp's gate without freeing the Chompy, so I got my first achievement here. And it actually wasn't all too long before I got another achievement for successfully doing Candleless right when I got into Womp's Fortress. I'm gonna speed through this initial run here pretty fast, because if you're watching, I assume you already know how Super Mario 64 goes. Slide, womps, yeah, nothing too insane here yet. But for my 10th star, Fall into the Caged Island, I elected not to try and do Owlless, because I hadn't been hit yet, and I was able to get the 10 stars damageless challenge. Like I said earlier, I've already beat the game damageless twice, so I don't expect this one to be too tough on me. I can easily make my way through some of the easier stars with no problem. I went through Jolly Roger Bay, deciding not to go for the special achievement here, since I thought it would probably ruin my chances at the 30-star damageless Chivo. So I got through all of those stars and went into the wing cap stage where I did a quick jump off the switch to skip the text box. This gave me the achievement Yump on the Tower. Nothing too exciting happened until I got to star 29, where I had the chance to get that damageless achievement. The star I went to go do was the 8 red coins in Bob-omb Battlefield, along with the 100 coins. Looking back on this, I should have gone for something a lot easier, like, oh, I don't know, Mario Wings to the Sky. Instead, I went along and did the star where there were perils around every corner. Needless to say, this backfired on me when I was doing a side flip wall jump on this section here, where a boulder came barreling down right into me. So I failed on the 29th star. But no matter, I pushed forward through Bowser in the Dark World, got the Vanish Cap where I tried to get the next Yump achievement and failed. Then I tackled Big Boo's Haunt, that one without any problems. Same with Shifting Sandland and Lethal Lava Land. I mean, there was a slight potential death scare during Boyle the Big Bully, where I almost burnt myself pretty bad, but I got through the rest without dying, thankfully. The first thing I did while in Hazy Maze Cave was send myself through this wall for the Swing Beast in the Cavern. Then I got the 8 reds and 100 coins out of the way. In Metal Cap, I tried to do the Yump achievement here too, but failed miserably. Quite an embarrassing attempt, to be honest. But I did do the star Metalhead Mario Can Move by using my momentum from a jump kick to get the star without the cap. Made my way through Dire Docks and Fire Sea with no issues, then had to go to the bathroom, so I left the game running idle. And Mario fell asleep, which also got me an achievement I hadn't even realized was in the set. Aw, isn't he just so sweet? Look at him. Then it was through Wet Dry World, where I got the star Quick Race through Downtown, while both having the water level at low and without using the cannon. All you had to do was jump and kick along this slope, and the rest was done as usual. I got through Tiny Huge Island, where I had to kill this poor Wiggler, and then got an achievement for jump diving through this wall in Tall Mountain, which is something that as a speedrunner, I always do. I also got an achievement for getting breathtaking view from the mountain without using the purple switch, which is also something I always do. So no problems there. Also, if you notice, I've far past 70 stars here, which is one of the deathless achievements I have to do. I was sort of at a fork in the road here. I could either keep doing this 120 star one session achievement and hope I never lose a life, or I could finish the game now and unlock this 70-star achievement. But if I beat the game now for the Deathless Chivo, I would need to start from the beginning and play all of these stars again. So I went with the high risk, high reward play of lumping them together and hope to get all 120 stars deathless, which I guess we'll need to see where that goes. For now though, I went into Snowman's Land and got the star Snowman's big head without triggering the text box, which I did by doing this slick little side flip wall jump here. Then I also got Whirl from the Freezing Pond without a twirl or the cannon. Then I did the 8 red coin sky level, which will be back here later. No spoilers though. And then after that, I actually managed to beat all of the levels in TikTok Clock on Frozen Time, which to my surprise unlocked me an achievement. A sure but welcoming surprise. In Rainbow Ride, there were a couple of challenges I could have gone for, like beating tricky triangles without the switch, but I decided to swallow my pride, not go for them, and play it safe. Since we've gotten all the way here deathless, and God knows I don't want to replay the game for the 70-star deathless achievement, let's just lock in and take it easy. I got all the stars with honestly not too many close. Oh my God, what the hell? Jesus Christmas on a cracker. Watch where you're going, man. Yeah, my heart was pumping. Thank God I survived that mess. But the rest of Rainbow Ride went without a hitch, and I had 119 stars, deathless, going into Bowser in the Sky. Wait, no, 118 stars. Oh, come on, how'd I miss one? Turns out I somehow missed into the igloo in Snowman's Land. At least it was an easy one. Now we actually have 119 stars going to Bowser in the Sky, deathless. We just need to collect the 8 red coins and beat Bowser without any problems. I got the star, then 1. No, don't miss, stop getting shocked. 2, and another miss, and 3. We did it. So now we beat Super Mario 64, 120 stars, deathless, in one go, getting me 2 achievements. You might notice the 16-star one didn't trigger, and that's because the set specifically wants a 16-star run, so we'll have to do that later. But before I go any further in this set, I want to say another thank you for helping me get to 5,000 plus subscribers. It means a lot to me that we've started to grow this channel and community. I've been thinking about what to do as my next sub goal. I think it's only natural to keep on the theme of the Super Mario 64 bonus sets. And I'm gonna go a bit crazy here, and I don't know if we're gonna hit this goal anytime soon, but this is my official announcement that at 25,000 subscribers, we will do the Super Mario 64 Lazy Lakitu set, which if you haven't heard of this challenge, we're going to have to beat a lot of stages without being able to see. And it's way harder than even this one. So let's try to one day get that, and back to the video. So now I'm gonna clean up the 16 achievements I missed throughout my initial playthrough before I go for that 16-star run. These achievements range from getting 8 red coins while racing Koopa the Quick and still winning, to collecting a secret coin in Snowman's Land. So let's start with the former and go back into Bob-omb's battlefield. This one can be pretty tight. You need to trigger the race with Koopa the Quick, then this is the route I took. Red coin over the elevator, on this rock, over the stump with the chain chomp, the 2 by the star spawn, under the gate, on the slope, and on the floating island. I somehow forgot that you're not allowed to use the cannons during the race, so in my first try, I shot myself over to the red coin on the slope and over to the island, which, well, made it so that when I won, I was disqualified. Seriously, I've done this star maybe hundreds of times and I just didn't remember this. But on my second time around, I just got a wing cap to get to the island and just barely beat Koopa the Quick for the achievement. Next, I went to Womp's Fortress for a couple different achievements. One of them was actually very unique. I knew this was possible, but I'd never actually done it before. For whatever reason, below Womp's Fortress, there's a pool of water. And with a little bit of glitch action, it's possible to swim down there. You just need to slide kick your way into this level geometry here, and boom, you're in the ground. Pretty neat. The next one was to get shoot into the wild blue without pressing A, which isn't necessarily hard, but just has a lot of steps. To do this, you need to make your way across the moving platforms and thwomp to this teleporter that brings you right above the platform. Roll out over the wall, then do another slide kick on this slope, and you can make it over to the star no problem. This one took only a couple of tries. The next achievement was Ice Pond, where I needed to do something similar to what I did in Womps a minute ago. Apparently, underneath the Mama Penguin, there's a water pool we can get into if we go underneath into the collision for it. You can use this spinny dude here in order to do it. But I triggered the warp while hitting the death plane, so I did technically warp up, but died while doing so. So if Retro Achievements counts it, I'll count it. This one though, surprisingly gave me trouble. Since I've done this a whole bunch during speedrunning, I thought it'd be a walk in the park. Granted, I don't do 120 stars, so it's rare that I'm ever in Jolly Roger Bay, but this shouldn't have been as hard as it was. If you don't know, in speedruns of this game, there's a way to get into the Star 1 sunken ship by clipping through this corner and hitting the warp zone, but it can be kind of tough. We need to do this for an achievement. The things that are tough are, for one, you need just the right angle to clip through while swimming. And once you're in the ship, it can be a little hard to actually navigate yourself over to the warp. The first few shots I went for, I simply just couldn't get the right initial angle and I was sliding over the corner. But slowly I started to get the hang of it, and my next problem was getting the clip. I personally don't know all of the intricacies of how or why this works. All that I know is that if I keep on swimming at different angles, sometimes I get through and into the ship. So I did that, got lost a bunch, and struggled greatly to the point of dying a few times while inside of the ship's walls. But alas, I hit the warp and made it into the actual ship interior for the achievement. Now I had to do a pretty easy one in Hazy Maze Cave, where I had to get swimming beasts in the cavern with no A presses. I just went into the 8 reds room by doing a well-timed and momentum rollout, then onto the elevator, back down pushing against the wall, and that was that. But what I had to do next ended up being one of the harder achievements in this set. This was the red hot log rolling no jump damageless challenge I mentioned earlier. There were a couple of different phases I had to navigate through while trying to get this one. First, I had to figure out my route. I tried a couple of different ways through the stage, none of which really worked. At the start, I was relying on these teetering platforms, and while I did get it to work a couple of times, the platforms were way too unpredictable for me. And timing was also tough with the rotating section here around the volcano, so that was quickly ruled out. But eventually, after some research, this is the path I took. Across the first gap, roll out onto the upper portion here, roll out into the first teetering platform, then I need to time my next dive properly into the shrinking long walkway. Then a roll out here, ledge grab, roll out, and then across the moving platform, which brings us over to the log. Now, before I get into the whole log issue, I want to mention how hard it is to even get to this point in the level. A mistimed rollout, bad ledge grab, these bullies, it all has very little room for error, and it took me dozens of attempts to simply get to the moving platform. Now, when we do get to the moving platform, we have a couple more challenges, which honestly might be the hardest parts. Getting onto this platform that brings us up to the log, well, diving to it was not too simple. It was very precise. It honestly looks like it's not even possible to get here the way I'm doing it, but I assure you, it is. Now, on the maybe 1 out of 10 runs that actually make it to this platform, you need to have another precise rollout onto the log. This platform is steep enough that sometimes when you think you might dive, you just punch, and that can really throw you off. So you need just the right speed, just the right angle, and boom, you make it onto the log and you're done. Unless you're a Division 1 choke artist like me. But in the end, I got the star and was able to get this super tough achievement. Now I had to get all 8 red coins in Shifting Sandland without ever using the wing cap, which on paper you would think is impossible. But you can get it because of a few well-placed level mechanics. I think it's unnecessary to say this, but I will anyway. 4 of these coins are easy. I won't talk about them. The real interest here comes from the 4 red coins that are flying in the sky. Usually you would use the wing cap to get them, but you can't, so we have to do some special manipulations here. This red coin by the quicksand pillar is the first one I would go for each try, because 1, it's hard to get onto the pillar to begin with, and 2, you need to mess with this fly guy, who I absolutely hate. You need to get him to attack you so you can jump on his head, twirl onto the red coin, and land safely back on the ground. That coin was pretty tough, but we aren't done with fly guys yet. The coin over by the oasis also needs a fly guy jump. Then we bring this one over here to the corner, jump on him, and boom, problem solved. But this one is very tight, and I missed it a few times just by not being high enough, or almost being knocked into the quicksand a bunch. The last 2 are possible to grab because of the tornadoes. For the one by the pyramid entrance, lead the tornado to here, and sometimes it'll shoot you high enough to get this red coin, and it's the same for the coin on the other side of the gate. I failed this one a few times, but overall not too bad. Now that we had a couple of hard ones, it's time to do something a little bit more simple in premise. In Snowman's Land, there is a secret coin that you can just barely grab from under the snowman with a really well-placed cannon shot. Well, first I needed to open the cannon, but then it was a matter of lining myself up properly and giving it a bunch of tries until eventually I got the hitbox and we were good to go. Then we need to do something similar to what we did in Wum's Fortress and Cool Cool Mountain over in Tiny Huge Island. There's a way to get in the top of the small island's water pool. There are a couple of ways to get it. I'll talk about them both and show you the way that I actually got it. The first strategy, which is what RetroAchievements seems to suggest as the main way to do this, has to do with clipping inside of the slope here. I won't lie, I don't know how precise this has to be. I tried it 10s, 20, maybe 30s of tries before giving up and trying to seek an alternate method, and I did. So instead of this awful way, you can do a well-angled backwards long jump underneath this low-hanging cliff by the Wiggler Cave entrance. You just have to line yourself up with where the water might be, avoid fire or otherwise any other enemies, and rip it a few times until you... Oh, come on again! I didn't even get to swim! Ugh, whatever. This next one is also in Tiny Huge Island. We need to get into Wiggler's Cave without the cannon or shell, which honestly is very very, very easy. A well-timed triple jump wall kick and you're in. Don't know how I missed this one on my first try. Actually, wait, I do know. I used the shell, didn't I? All right, now we had a few easy achievements in a row, but fun time is over for me. The achievement Dry the Pipe has us going into Wet Dry World. We need to somehow get back into the pipe that links downtown to the main area while the water is drained. Once again, there are a couple of different ways to do this. Way number one, which is the way I thought I would get the star, is as so. Jump into the stage at high tide, go into downtown, drain the water, and then if you do this like Pen and Koic, you would do a triple jump, slide off this roof, and wall kick ledge grab onto this chain fence. And you're in. I tried this for 25 minutes straight. At first things were rough, but I quickly started to get better at this. And I was, I think, closer to the ledge grab. I'll be real, there were multiple tries where I thought I had the right height to grab on, but it just wasn't working. Like I said, I know this game pretty well, and I thought I was doing it right, but I just never got it. So after those 25 minutes straight of trying this way, I gave method number 2 a shot. This one was simply swimming quickly. Now, I'm a decent swimmer, but I thought I would have to swim really fast. The swimming movement and speed you need is extremely tight, all of it, from the approach to the turn to the hop out of water at the end. It took quite a bit out of me. I started to get used to the turn and jumping out of the water properly. It took me once again a long time. I think from start to finish, it was 40 minutes, but eventually the swimming method worked for me. Warp over to Bob-omb's battlefield where I have a little bit of a challenge I gotta do. I need to get my hat in my hand and hold it, which you can do with some glitch manipulation. If you grab a second hat during the animation of the first grab, the game freaks out. You hold it in your hands for some reason. This can be done in a couple different ways with both the regular hat and wing cap, and I decided to go with the wing cap method. In BOB, the wing cap box at the start is close enough to a wall that you can hit the box and then right before the first hat despawns, spawn another, grab the first hat, grab the other cap, and you should be holding one in your hands. I had a really hard time on this one. I stood at this box forever trying different box hitting methods. I would run in, stand still, you name it, I done it. Took a bit, but eventually I had timed everything perfectly, and unfortunately for me, it seems that this achievement doesn't work unless done with the normal Mario hat. I should have known. But since that didn't work for me, there was another method, the Hat Factory. In Snowman's Land, for some reason, if you lose your hat to the snowman's windy breath, warp under this tree, then run to where your hat was, there will be now 2 hats. So I grabbed one, grabbed the other, and there it is. Just be aware that I'm pretty sure while grabbing hat number 2, you need to have your control stick neutral, not pushing in a direction for the trick to work. Now that the hat is off our head, we have 3 final achievements to go for in this section of the video, and 2 of them are in Rainbow Ride. Achievement number 1 has me trying to get the tricky triangle star without ever hitting the purple switch to make platforms. I thought this would be a walk in the park. I thought I could just do a triple jump, then slide on my ass to the top. In my head, this would have just taken a couple of tries. Wrong. It took me quite a while to even get the proper triple jump in here, and there were some attempts that did fairly well, but nothing got me to the top of the platform. As it turns out, this challenge is made a bit easier by talking to Yoshi at the top of the princess's castle. Once you get your 99 lives, you also get the special triple jump flip special combo, which also gives you a little bounce when hitting the ground. Utilizing this bounce functionality, it made getting closer to the star far more simple. But even still, it was not great. I was doing this triple jump for a half an hour plus until I had an attempt that had me sliding on my butt, which helped me get to the star. The last thing to do in Rainbow Ride was to get somewhere over the rainbow without using a carpet. Because I can't triple jump wall kick anymore, I had to restart the game and get rid of the flip jump. And so then I went back into Rainbow Ride. This one wasn't too hard for me since I've done this challenge hundreds of times in 70-star speedruns. All you need to do is get to the top of the red coin maze, do some wall kicks off these floating platforms, and do a well-timed long jump to grab the ledge on the falling block. Then after that, you're a cannon shot away from getting this achievement as well. I would argue that the only hard part about this one was the timing on the long jump. You don't have a lot of time to do it, but after throwing yourself at it a few times, it shouldn't be too bad. Now that we finished that up, there's only one more achievement to do before we hop into a 16-star run, which is getting to the very tip top of the castle with no cannon. You need to do a triple jump slide off in the right side of the castle grounds to get on top. Then grab a wing cap in order to get onto the next level. With a good angle and speed, Mario will just zoom his way to the top for the achievement. Alright, so I want to regroup for a second before we move on, because things are going quite fast. We now have 30 of the 48 achievements in this set, and these are the categories we have left. 16-star speedrun, beating Bowser 1 with no stars, Yump challenges, 30 stars damageless, then the green demon challenges, of which there are 8. And then I'm going to finish the game off with the no coin, no one-up, no collection challenges in the 3 Bowser levels to wrap this video up with a nice little bow. Alright, so let's do 16 stars. If you've never seen a 16-star run before, which if you're watching a super super niche Super Mario 64 video and don't know about this, how are you even here? But the route is quite simple. Hey, I got Lakitu skip. I wanted to go for that Bowser 1 no stars achievement during the speedrun. So I did LBLJ to get to Bowser with no stars. Well, I forgot about the no stars part because I accidentally collected the 8 red coins. I mean, come on, that's how you do the normal route. It's not my fault. So I did that star, didn't get the achievement, felt like an idiot. I went on to get a bunch of stars in Womps, did Bomb Clip, and got some more stars in Cool Mountain before I got myself 15 stars with Shining Atop the Pyramid in the Bird Star in SSL, 8 reds in LLL, and then the Toad Star, Rolling Rocks, and Swing Beast in HMC. At 15 stars, Mip spawns in, which we can use to precisely-ish clip through this door. And then the 30-star door. Not too shabby. From here, the Submarine Star in DDD, Fire Sea, and was on to BLJ's, which I don't think I need to explain. BLJ's done, Bowser in the sky, 1, 2, 3 hits on Bowser, and we were done with the challenge of beating the game deathless with 16 stars. Phew! Got all that. Now that I've done all that, I redid LBLJ, beat Bowser in the sky with 0 stars, and got that done as well. If you remember from before, the Yump challenges, which, by the way, Yump is a reference to getting a frame-perfect jump off a P-switch in Mario World. Don't ask me where the phrase derived from, I don't know. So, it's kind of the same in this game, but it's not frame-perfect. We gotta press the switch and then collect the star before hitting the ground so that the text box doesn't show up. I already did this in Wing Cap since it's super easy there, but I still have to do this in Metal Cap and Vanish Cap. So, let's go into HMC. All I had to do was spawn the star, then make a huge leap into the water, which I failed on my first try. But what's nice about this game is if I press reset on the console before hitting save after hitting the switch, it'll forget that I unlocked the cap. So I can give this another go without having to replay the game up until that point. On try number 2, I made it through and yumped my way to victory. Now, Vanish Cap on the other hand, this one gave me immense trouble. For some reason, I decided I wouldn't need to get the 8 red coins in this level. Which, how did I forget I need the star to perform this trick? But my first attempt at a yump went poorly, and so did my second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Then on my 9th, I actually did it, but wasn't spawning the star. This is where I realized I'm stupid. But after a few more attempts, I actually got it and could move on to the next achievement. Now I could get this 30-star damageless challenge done, which I so embarrassingly failed at 29 stars at my first time around. Here's the route I took. Beat King Babam, race Koopa the Quick, shoot to the island in the sky, some stars in Womps, the 2 slide stars, the aquarium star, Wing Cap, a few of the other ones in Cool Mountain, Bowser in the sky, then down to the basement for easy stars in SSL. I skipped out on Lethal Lava Land, obviously, got the Toad Star for an HMC, then Mips, 1 star in BBH, then I was stumped on where to go, so I went back into Cool Mountain for the big penguin race, then did Mario Wings to the Sky, the Sunken Ship, Cannon Blast, then didn't learn my lesson on 100 coin and reds. I decided to grab those 2 last. This time though, I made it through with no problemo. I tricked you, didn't I? Made you think I lost. Okay, now I'm not a high-level Mario 64 player slash speedrunner, but I do know my way around movement pretty decently. So a lot of these challenges might seem like they're easy from the way I'm playing them, but there is truly a lot that goes into each one. And things are about to change drastically because of some of the Green Demon achievements I'm going to take on. If you don't know what the Green Demon challenge is, it's something that Mario 64 players came up with to add some extra difficulty into some levels for fun. There are some 1-ups that when spawned follow you around the level, and the idea is you need to spawn the 1-ups and get all 8 red coins while it's chasing you. If you ever collect the 1-up, you lose. This can get very hard because the 1-up moves pretty fast, and sometimes you're confined to super tight spaces or very quick cycles that you can't miss. But the first one of Babam's Battlefield is a great tutorial stage for this challenge because you have a lot of space to move around in. The 1-up is in this tree by the cannon, and as you can see, it follows pretty closely. I had to swiftly grab this coin above the elevator, run over the red coin on the rock, and loop my way back around to get the star over the Chain Chomp's stump. After that, I got the coin underneath the closed gate. I made a mistake here, but we'll talk about that later. And then looped back to that main area with the big rock again. Using a Wing Cap, I flew over to the mountain and up to the island in the sky where the 1-up caught up to me and I failed. So as you can see, the route is pretty specific. I mentioned I made a mistake, and it happened right here. I was supposed to grab this Wing Cap before the gate coin so I could save time later on while going for the mountain. My second time though, I took too long and my Wing Cap ran out before I could leave the floating island, so I failed again. Next time I got up here though, I got the red coin, flew off to the right side of the mountain, grabbed the 6 red coin on the slope, and made my way over to the star spawn for the last 2 coins and got the star for the achievement. Yeah, this was the easy star. I'd say 5 out of 10 difficulty. On to Whomp's Fortress, and I'm pretty sure this is kind of where the challenge originated. And this one can be pretty tough if you don't know the route like I do. The 1-up spawns on this flagpole here. And right after hopping off, you need to get the floating coin by this rotating wood plank. I missed it this time, but hey, it was the trial run. Oh wow, I didn't know that jumping off the stage here was a strat. Okay, on try 2, I got the coin I needed, then moved on to the next phase in this level, the floating islands. Made my way up to those 2 red coins while the 1-up was hot on my trail, then got the slidey coin on my loop back. Next, I was supposed to get the coin by the falling pathway and the sleeping piranha, but the 1-up came out of nowhere and intercepted me. I think this is because I was being too fast and at some point it got caught on something. Eventually, I got into a spot where it could move again and it was hot on my trail. On the next attempt, it was a similar story where I got hit by the 1-up after failing a long jump. Sad. Soon after, I managed to get both of these coins, then back near the floating islands to get the coin above the thwomp. And all I needed to do was get coin number 8 and collect the star. Well, the 1-up got me. The next time I got here, I whiffed the last coin, but I had movement skill on my side. I ran into the water section over here, juked out the 1-up, got coin 8, whiffed the star, did another loop, and completed this challenge without too much struggle. 6 out of 10 difficulty. Now, this is one of my favorites, Cool Mountain. The 1-up is inside of this tree by the snowman's head. First things first is to get this coin in the side of the mountain here. Then off to the coin by the ledge, and this is where things get fun. We have to slide down this slope and launch over to the mama penguin area where we have 3 coins to collect in quick succession. I got the farthest of the 3 first, then toyed around with the 1-up to get the 1 in the tree, and then the 1 on the broken bridge. Unfortunately, on my first attempt, I didn't have enough space between myself and the 1-up to warp back up to the top, so I tried doing a long jump back to the main section and fell into the void. Eventually though, I got over, warped to the top for coin number 6 on the tree, coin 7 off in this area, and number 8 long jumping across the other broken bridge. Not too bad. I give this one like a 4 out of 10 difficulty. Our 4th Green Demon challenge is in Shifting Sandland, and this one does have a little bit of a learning curve. Mostly though, I was dumb in choosing a star where the bird could come and steal my hat while spawning the 1-up. Won't lie, this killed a lot of runs. But once I got past that little hiccup, it was more about mechanical skills. So we spawn the demon and go for the coin by the tox boxes. Then the coin in the box and go for a pretty tough triple jump over the slope with the red coin off in the distance. Once I get that over and done with, I usually build up enough distance from the 1-up to grab the Oasis coin. Usually I try to get into the cannon if I'm fast enough, but when that didn't work, I just get eaten by a tornado and fail. But when I do get in the cannon, I can easily launch myself to get the last 4 flying coins. Actually, in the run I did it, I missed the Oasis coin and had to go back around for that one. But I made it over to the star for the win. 7 out of 10 difficulty. The next 3 are actually some of the more easy ones, but after that comes hell. First off is Snowman's Land, where using the shell makes this pretty easy. The 1-up spawns in the tree on top of the snowman's head. What you do is fling yourself off the backside of the snowman, then boing across the frozen lake to get the shell. Or in my case, have to jump dive for all of these coins. But I crossed up the 1-up and went back for the shell and coin 4, then 5 by the spiny dude, 6, 7 under the bully fight, then the last one in the snow over here. Took me only a couple of tries, and it's not really that challenging to be honest. 2 out of 10 difficulty. If you want to try this challenge out, I also recommend this one. Now, we're about to start a quick trend of cheesing to get the 1-up stuck. In TTC, we need to grab the 8 red coins on the flip panels. But if we're fast enough and stick to the right side of the panels, the 1-up will get stuck on the mesh above. The 1-up is on this pole right above where we need to go. And we need to get through the hole, stay right, and it really isn't too bad. The only thing to note is to go for the 2 by the star spawn last and fast, since the 1-up will become unstuck and start to run at you. But if you don't get stuck or fall, this one is very, very easy. Which is the first time I've ever said TTC is easy. 1 out of 10 difficulty. Our last of the easy green demons is in Rainbow Ride. Another first to say Rainbow Ride was easy, but this is why. The star spawns at the top of the ship, and as long as you jump and ground pound quickly after and fall to the bottom of the ship, the 1-up gets stuck again. So yeah, another even more free achievement. 0 out of 10 difficulty. But now, oh now, this is where most of my playtime in this set was. These last 2 green demon achievements. Well, before, things were either straight up cheesable, or there was decent room for error, or ways for you to build up a lead against the demon. Not for these last 2. And you can tell the difficulty of these 2 achievements before even playing. I mean, the one for the wing cap in the attic has a 0.19% completion, and the one in Fire Sea has a 0.25% completion. The first one I'm going for is Bowser in the Fire Sea. And the way I'm going to do this is explain the route, then do a little montage trademark, because I don't think I can otherwise explain how many attempts this took unless I show you every failed try. So here goes the explanation. You play the game as usual until you get to the pole that brings you to the cage. This is where the 1-up spawns. We need to jump off at the right angle so we can firstly get away from the 1-up, but also grab this first red coin as it's spawning in. We do this with a quick wall jump that leads us to wall jumping up the elevator shaft. Now that we're up here though, we still need to get the coins we've left down below. And we can do this pretty easily if we precisely fall back to the lower level while keeping close enough to the wall that the 1-up stays on the layer above. This trick is tough. If you aren't quick enough, the 1-up comes down below, and if you try to turn too fast, you're dead. Now, while I'm down here, we can generally take our time. If we stand off to the side of this second coin too long though, the 1-up will come after us, so we just have to be quick here. Otherwise, the other two are simple. But this is where things get diabolical. Back on layer 2, we need to both balance movement and timing. Coin 5 is with this bully, not too bad, but coin 6 is the issue here. The platform rises and falls on a cycle, and well, we can't wait for a very long time or else the 1-up will get us. So we need to stand on the far side of the platform, go around the 1-up, get the right timing on the rise, and if we're lucky, the coin is ready to grab. If we aren't lucky, well, we need to do some tight circles around this hole until the coin is ready for us. After that, we need to go up to layer 3, which is also hard. Coin 7 is right in front of this fire spitter. And at first, I struggled to get it, but in the end, I found out as long as I have enough health, I can just long jump a damage boost to this heart to replenish my health. For the final coin, I need to leap of faith damage boost burn my ass. But oh no, I'm not done yet, because getting to the star is another challenge in itself. I need to go across the falling platforms, make sure not to delete too many because, well, I'll die otherwise, then triple jump onto this tiny, thin wall and get over to the star. All of this is basically perfect timing with no room for error. This took me hours to get. So let's montage and see how it went. All right, that's done. But now onto the hardest achievement I have ever completed in my entire achievement hunting career, worth 50 whole hardcore points and 6,499 retro points. Nothing to scoff at. Wing Mario Over the Rainbow is honestly a throwaway stage. I never think about it. Don't really care for it. Honestly, my opinions are kind of negative since when you lose, you get sent back outside of the castle and have to make your way back up. Very annoying. But this achievement made me do things I never ever want to do again. Well, in the last level, I struggled because of tight movement. At least there was actual level geometry for me to play off of, and you could jump, kick, side flip, the whole 9. But here, I need to play with invisible walls, jank-ass flying, and cannons. Multiple cannons. This was no baby task for the baby game. Now, I should mention, we take advantage of a spawn glitch for this 1-up to show up how we want it to. This pole over here, if we climb it, then press the Z button to fall off at the top, the game gets a little confused and doesn't spawn the 1-up yet. What we need to do is make a very, very close flyby to the top of the pole to spawn it in while already in motion. I do this by going up the pole, cannon shot to the star spawn cloud, then flyby. This is already hard enough. Many runs just die to me hitting the pole. If I grab on, it's over, kaput. But that's not the only thing going on in this little flyby. I need to build up enough speed to race all the way over to this cannon off in the distance. I need to shoot myself there over to another cloud. Now, you just barely have enough speed to get there when done perfectly. So most of the time I'm bonking here. So pole grab, run dead. Bonk, run dead. Now, what about the times we actually make it to the cannon? Well, we need to make a fast shot, or else the 1-up is gonna catch up to us. No room for mistakes here. This cloud up here isn't too bad. We get our first 2 coins and then we fly into the transparent cloud for the 3rd. If you know how to fly generally, these 3 aren't the worst thing ever. But coin 4 is another run killer. It's another close to pole flyby. Well, a bunch of poles flyby. And it doesn't help that the hitbox on this thing is extended. So if we hit the pole, run dead again. So we have 4 coins and already 4 very easy ways for this run to die. What do we do after coin 4? We make our way to this cloud here, but we need to precisely ground pound this wing cap box as we're landing in order to replenish our wing cap. Because because, well, it's about to run out. Then we hop over to the smaller cloud here for coin 6, and we need to quickly get out of here because look how close the 1-up is. Oh my god. Now, if everything before wasn't bad enough, this is where I really had the most trouble. I know, I've talked about a lot of BS, but this is the bad part. Well, I need to keep the 1-up close to me, fly out into the distance, and make a sharp left turn so I can build up speed to get these last 2 coins. The problem is, I don't know where the world barrier is, and I could just, hit it at any time. I need to find the sweet spot, and I need to use nothing but my intuition. And the reason we need space is so we can do a low altitude coin grab, which if I'm too low, well, and I need to do this so I have enough time to grab coin 8 to get into the cannon and get a high shot off, all in time for me not to get hit by the 1-up. And we're done. This took me 3 hours and 20 minutes straight of attempts to pull off. I don't think it's even possible to explain how hard this was. There was truly zero room for error. 1 missed input, run over. Too slow, run over. Too fast, run over. This was truly a mastery of the 1-up following mechanic, as well as flying and time management. If you ever want to feel a pop-off like I felt when I finished this, give it a try. But it's not for the faintest of heart. 11 out of 10 difficulty. We're breaking barriers here. Now though, I left 3 reasonable achievements for the end. Something that had us fight Bowser and wrap up this video nicely. Also, I just needed something chill to do at the end because those green demons took it out of me. All we need to do is get through Dark World, Fire Sea, and Sky without touching any coins or 1-ups. Not too tough. Dark World only has a couple of spots where coins are in the way. Across this bridge and on the rotating platforms. Up the stairs on the side and we're good. Hit Bowser once, bam. Fire Sea, also not too bad. The 1-up at the start can be hard, but I just took the moving platform. And also I had to triple jump past these ones on the triangle. Other than that, we just took it real slow, missed a Bowser throw, and hit a Bowser throw for another Chivo. Finally, the last achievement for the Super Mario 64 bonus subset is the same thing in Sky. The stage isn't so bad. There really aren't too many coins around, so with a bit of walking and long jump and jumpy, we make it into the pipe where we need to get our 3 throws in. I missed multiple times, which was nerve-wracking since if Bowser shoots fire, coins spawn in. But thankfully, when that happened, I was able to avoid the coins and got all 3 hits in to master the set in 14 hours, 12 minutes, and 18 seconds. Even though the runtime is pretty low, this has to be the hardest set I've ever tackled in my life, and it'll only get harder from here. But I just want to say before finishing off this video, thanks again for 5,000 subs. It means a lot to me. I've been working at this a long time, so seeing the support come my way feels amazing. Here's to hopefully 5,000 more, and who knows where we go from here. Thanks for watching.